How y'all doing today, my good people? Everything is good. Everything is great. Today, I'm coming out with the good and the bad of the product line release of 2020. Yes, this year we had some great product line releases. The Big Navi, AMD 5000 series, and they also released a 4000 series. Majority of it are put into their laptops they are selling, and some of it are on desktop CPUs, which are non-existent in the retail stores. Also, the RTX 30 series launch, which was great. Only thing was wrong with it was not enough demands going around, and the bots have taken over. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get right into this here. This topic will be the good and the bad with the product line release of 2020. We're going to cover the topics of the Big Navi, Ryzen CPUs, and the RTX 30 series. Now, let's get right into it. NVIDIA RTX 3000 series upside. GeForce RTX 30 series GPUs deliver the ultimate performance for gamers and creators. They are powered by Ampere, NVIDIA's second gen RTX architect, with new RT cores, tensor cores, and streaming multiprocessors for the most realistic ray trace graphics and cutting edge AL features. Okay, in the RTX 3090, the CUDA cores are 10,496, boost clock is 1.70, memory size is 24 gigabyte. AMD, y'all pay attention to what NVIDIA did and what y'all did wrong with y'all Big Navi. Alrighty, memory is GDDR6X, price is $1,499. With the RTX 3080, CUDA cores 8704, boost clock is 1.71. Okay, here the boost clock goes up a little bit, but the memory size is at 10 gigabyte. Now, a lot of y'all didn't pay attention to the RX 6000 series when it was launched. I'm gonna go ahead and get into that there quick and soon, but right now, NVIDIA are doing their thing. Okay, finish moving right along with the memory of GDDR6X with the price of $699. The RTX 3070, 5,888 CUDA cores, 1.73, 8 gigabyte GDDR6, price $499. The baby of them all, which this is the graphic card I'm going to be getting when they come back out. The RTX 3060 Ti, 4,864 CUDA cores, 1.6, 8 gigabyte of memory size, which is VRAM, and GDDR6, coming at $399. Now they fluctuate, which they all are affordable. Now, one thing about NVIDIA, they did their thing. With their launch release, their graphic card performs great. No issues. But one thing, these extreme gamers out there, they went ahead and started pushing the card to the max. They start locking up. Alright, the upside of the NVIDIA RTX 3000 series. New RT cores, new tensor cores, super fast GDDR6 memory, dual airflow, NVIDIA Reflex, NVIDIA Broadcast, RTX 10. If you need to know about the RTX 10 to the people who's coming new to this line here, go to nvidia.com and they will explain more about it when you watch their video. The downside, not enough units shipped out to the stores, scalpers to control, massive overclocking crash PCs, but NVIDIA and all manufacturers are fixing the issues and updating software patch fixed as we speak. Now, enough of that said. Can't go wrong with it. Nvidia still on top. Nvidia have not lost their step. Nvidia has came down from their 2080 series lines when they was expensive about 1100 plus. But they said, okay, let's go ahead and make cars affordable for our gamers to enjoy and be happy, which they did do that. So that's not the issue right there. Moving right along to the AM 3000 series CPUs, which are still monstrous. These CPUs are still being brought, and they are being sold out dramatically. So these stores can't keep them on the shelves because AMD came up with the 5000 series, and they also released their 4000 series, but none of them on the shelves. Okay, now, as you know about the Ryzen 5, 7, and 9 3000 series, I want y'all to pay a good close attention to this chart, because with this chart here, y'all gonna have to pay good close attention, because I'm gonna tell y'all with the 4000 series and the 5000 series, they are the same architect of the 3000 series CPUs. Yes, boost clock, cores, threads, base clock, and TDP are all the same. Only thing that they was able to create with their 5000 series was SAM, which is Smart Access Memory. This memory is allowed to crank up more juice from the PCL lanes from the GPU and give it more performance and a little more tweak in your gameplay, less bottlenecking, good game performance. Now, enough said with that. I'm moving on to the 4000 series. Now, the 4000 series CPU line came out before the 5000 series did. The only thing about this line here is that it is architected off of their AM2, the AM3 architect. As you see, you 35 watt. This is off the AM4's Athlon based Athlon 3000G, the Athlon 812, 810 architects, etc. from the 32G, 33G architect. They're the same cores, same threads. Here, these are your APUs because it has the graphic controller built inside the CPU. As you see, your graphic frequency on the side here, your GPU cores are here, your base boost and your base frequency are here. Now if you go look up these, you will also notice that they're identical to the other lines they got out, which is horrible. Why? Because y'all are y'all trying to knock out one line of CPU to create another line. Now see, if I was in the CPU market, a CPU architect, I would have raised my cores up by 2 on every series out, from the Ryzen 5, 3, the Ryzen 5, the Ryzen 7, the Ryzen 9, etc. I was not trying to create a same CPU, give it a new name, but keep the same cores and threads, wattage, and TDP all the same. Now, moving right along to the Ryzen 5000 CPUs. As you see, the Ryzen 5900X, 12 cores, 24 threads, 4.8 gigahertz boost, 3.7 gigahertz, 70 megabyte cache, 105 TDP. I'm going to back this up to their 3000 series, 3900, 12 core, 24 threads, 3.8, 4.6, 105. It's the same. You're not implementing nothing. Only thing they did was in conventional Windows-based PC systems, processors can only access a fraction of graphic memory, which is VRAM, at once limiting system performance. With AMD Smart Access Memory, the data channel gets expanded to harness the full potential of the GPU memory, utilizing the bandwidth of the PCI to remove the bottleneck and increase performance. That's all they did with the 5,000 CPUs, was increase the bottleneck and increase the performance of the GPU by coming up with smart access memory, which allow you to do that. Now, the only thing you can go ahead and access this smart access memory if you get the new 6000 series. That's the only way the 6000 series and this GPU works together. If you got an older CPU and the new Big Navi, it was not work. You'll get the regular gameplay, but you won't get that enhanced 15 to 26% boost from the GPU from the CPU. That's the only problem I have right there. Y'all created a new line of CPUs to enhance the graphic card. Now, they should have did this smart access memory in their 3700X, 3900X, and they 3950X. Y'all could have gave it a different number, and y'all could have implemented the smart access memory in their 4000 desktop CPUs, which are not talked about. No in bottlenecking, no in performance, nothing. Moving right along. The upside and downside. The upside, Ryzen 3000 series are still a beast and will always hold their own. Smart access memory was developed to access the GPU to get more game enhanced performance and frame rates per second, etc., etc. The downside, smart access memory should have been in the 4000 line and the Ryzen 7 3700X, the Ryzen 9 3900X, and the Ryzen 9 3950X. Now, enough with that. I would have came out with the smart access memory and the Ryzen 7. I would have said the Ryzen 7 3720X and the Ryzen 9 3920X and the Ryzen 9 3970X. Y'all could have implemented that smart access memory in these line and with the 4000 line, which I think was rushed out, poorly advertised. No consumers are buying them, and there's no answer of why they were released. Now, if they did this right, y'all could have released a smart access memory and boost the sales of your 4000 line CPU series, which would have also helped out the Big Navi. Y'all didn't have basically AMD did not really have to create a new line of CPUs with the same core, same thread, same power, same base, same boost. It's a waste of time, energy, and consumers' money. Now, moving right along to the Big Navi. The Big Navi RX 6800, RX 6800 XT, and the RX 6900. Now, the RX 6800 to me is the only best card that they created, because this process here was thought out perfectly. When you got your compute units at RDNA 260, GPU clock is 1815, memory 16 gigabyte of VRAM, Infinity Cache 128 megabyte, power, total board power is 250, PSU wattage 650 watts. Now, this is one reason why I see all this here. That was thought out. That was perfect. Now, before I get to talk about this chart, I'm going to go ahead and say this little statement here. One thing to point out is the GPU clock, memory, and cache on the 68XT and the 6900 XT are the same. It should have been on the RX 1600 XT. The cache should have been 256 megabyte. The RAM should have went up by 2, which separates from the RX 6800. It should have been 18 gigabyte. And the RX 6900 XT GPU clock should have been 250 right here. So as you notice, both of them are set at 2015 for both. Both memory are set out at 16 gigabyte of VRAM, Infinity Cache 128, total board part at 300. Now this is the tricky part here. This is what separates these two cards, is the power supply usage. 750 for the 1600 XT and 850 watts for the 6900 XT. Now, as I was mentioning back again, the 6900 XT GPU clock should have been 2015 with 20 gigabyte of VRAM and 384 cache with a total board power of 350. If they would have done this here, this series line would have been dynamic. But only thing they did was trying to rush the card out to convince you with their frame per second rates chart and say, oh, this card is great. Oh, but see, me as a consumer, I pay attention to detail. And I noticed as they in the launch video, they was going on and on, rambling on and on, rambling on and on, which were trying to throw people off, but didn't throw me off. I pay attention to good detail. Now, the upside and downside of the big Navi. There's no upside. The only upside I probably have is the RX 6800 because that GPU card was thought out with no issues. Now, the downside, the 6900 XT and the 6900 XT should have never been rushed. If they took their time with that card, it would have been a perfect GPU line. Because see, now you implement better line. Now notice that they got the same 16 gigabyte VRAM on the 3090. It had 24 gigabyte VRAM. See, that's the thing, NVIDIA and AMD difference between them two, because the NVIDIA pay attention to detail. AMD like to rush stuff out. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Here, the 1600 XT and 6900 XT does not outperform the RTX 3080 nor the RTX 3090 GPU cards. As I was watching my subscribers' benchmarks, they were shocked that the 3980 and the 3090, the 3080 and the 3090 GPU card outperformed the big Navi 6800 XT and the 6900 XT. Now, by that being said, is that NVIDIA did their homework, AMD did their homework, but AMD was more too busy trying to rush it out to trying to out dominate NVIDIA. Only thing y'all did was access smart access memory, which in one of my videos, AMD was talking about letting NVIDIA and AMD, not NVIDIA and Intel helping them access smart access memory. First of all, why in the world would NVIDIA want y'all smart access memory when their GPU lines out top your GPU lines? The 3080 series and the 3090 series out dominated the big Navi 6800 XT and the 6900 XT. I mean, it killed it. And subscribers were like, well, damn, what was the purpose of putting this card out if the only card that the 6900 XT dominated was their sister, the 6800 XT? It beat about like what, 20% in frame per second. That's it. The access, the GPU line was rushed. which I agree. The lines was rushed. It was not thought out. Only thing was properly thought out was the 6800. Other than that, the rest, the 6800 XT and the 6900 XT, garbage. Why? Because it has the same features. It has the same GPU clock at 2015. It has the same VRAM, 16 gigabyte. It has the same Infinity Cache at 128 megabyte and the same board power. Total board power, which is at 300. Only thing separate is the RDNA2 and the RDNA2 is up by 8. 72 on the 6800 XT and 80 on the 6900 XT. That don't make me want to buy the damn card. That make me just want to just throw that shit in the canal. It's garbage. Throw some gasoline on it and light it with a match. Poof. That's it. It's nothing compared to the NVIDIA 3000 series line. The NVIDIA lines is better, it's well performed, it's well thought out than the Big Navi. Alrighty, moving back to the downsides. The only way access smart memory with the CPU 5000 series. If you ain't got the 5000 series, you're not gonna go ahead and get that enhancement from the Big Navi. So you could buy the Big Navi and you could game on the 3950X. You're still gonna get your same gameplay. You just got 16 gigabyte of VRAM, but you're not accessing the GPU PCIe main bus lane memories. Now, AMD developers should put more thought into the CPU and GPU and put the SAM in the R7 3700X, 3800X, R9 3900X, and the R9 3950X, and the 4000 line series. If they focus on that, AMD will be on top. See, this is one reason why everybody like, oh, there's a new line, I gotta go get it. Sleeping outside in the parking lot. Please. This line here now for the NVIDIA, I understand that. AMD, now, enough said with that. Let's talk about Intel. Intel is in chill mode. Everybody sitting there saying Intel is dead. No. The only thing make Intel suck is their marketing. But right now, Intel came out with a new CPU for the LGA 1200, and they got a new CPU coming out next year. And for 2022, they're coming out with a new LGA 1700 with the new CPU line with that, and they're gonna go ahead on and tweak the PCIe 5.0 bandwidth GPU line as well too. So other than that, Intel just chillaxing. They watched NVIDIA did their thing. They watched AMD did their thing. So now in 2021, Intel's gonna do their thing, and I can't wait to see. I want y'all to go ahead on, and I really want to thank y'all for watching. Go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to my channel. I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. I got more great content coming your way, and I just want to say peace.